I was never the type to snoop. Never the type to assume the worst. If someone had asked me 2 weeks ago if I trusted my wife, I would have laughed and said, of course. But now, as I sat in the dimly lit bedroom staring at the bold black letters I had just sprayed across the wall, I felt something I had never felt before. Cold, crawling numbness. The kind that seeps into your bones when you realize everything you believed was a lie. She wasn't supposed to be home for another hour. But I heard the key in the door earlier than expected. The soft jingle of metal, the familiar click of the lock. Then, her voice, cheerful, relaxed. Hey, babe, you won't believe the night I had. I stayed silent, just sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall. Her heels tapped against the floor as she made her way toward the bedroom. We had a crazy patient today, she continued, completely oblivious. Guy came in screaming about how his arm was broken. But guess what? It was just a bruise. Can you believe that? She laughed. Carefree, open laugh. A laugh that had always made me smile. But now it made my stomach twist. She stepped into the doorway, still talking. But then, silence. Her breath caught in her throat. I didn't need to look at her to know she had stopped moving. I knew exactly where her eyes had landed. The words on the wall, painted in thick, dripping strokes. How was your emergency shift, Emily? The silence stretched between us, thick as tar. I turned my head, finally looking at her. She was standing frozen in place, her purse still dangling from her wrist, her phone clutched in one manicured hand, her mouth slightly open, her chest rising and falling a little too fast. A guilty person caught off guard. I waited, letting the weight of the moment sink in. Letting her scramble for something, anything, to say. She blinked rapidly, her lips pressing together before she let out a nervous, breathy chuckle. What is this? Her voice was too high, too forced. She was already in defense mode. But she didn't even know what I knew yet. I didn't move. What do you think it is? Her eyes darted back to the wall, then to me. She tried to smile, but it wobbled at the edges. Is this supposed to be some kind of joke? A joke. That was her first move. To act like I was the crazy one. Like I had spent my night decorating our bedroom with accusations for fun. I inhaled slowly, keeping my voice calm. Where were you tonight, Emily? She let out a small scoff, shifting her weight. I told you. I was at work. I stood up, took 2 steps toward her. She instinctively took half a step back. Just a small one, barely noticeable, but I noticed. I pulled my phone from my pocket, unlocked it, and turned the screen toward her. The video, the one Jake had sent me, packed bar, music blaring. And there, right in the center, was my wife, sitting comfortably on some guy's lap, laughing, drinking, touching him. Emily's face drained of color. I watched her eyes flick between the screen and my face, her mind working double time. You think that's me? She blurted out. Oh my God. Babe, you actually think that's me? Her voice cracked at the end, a little breathless, but I knew that trick. It was the same voice she used when she tried to get out of a speeding ticket. Innocent, shocked, indignant. It is you, I said flatly. She shook her head, too fast. No, it's not. I swear to God, babe, that whoever that is, she just looks like me. A ridiculous, pathetic lie. I played the video again. The camera zoomed in slightly at one point. Right there, on her wrist, was the bracelet I had bought her for our anniversary. The one she never took off. I didn't say anything. I just watched her.
Letting her dig herself deeper.
She opened her mouth again, then hesitated. She was trying to gauge my reaction, trying to see how much she could push before I snapped. I didn't snap. I didn't yell. I just let her feel the weight of her own lie. Finally, she let out a sharp breath and rolled her eyes. Fine. Yes. I went out for a drink. So what? There it was. The shift. The change in tone. She knew the innocent act wasn't working, so now she was moving to phase 2, making me feel like I was the one overreacting. I let out a dry laugh. So what? I repeated. So what, Emily? You told me you were at work. You looked me in the eye and lied to my face. And now you want to act like it's nothing. She crossed her arms, tilting her head. Oh my God, you're being insane right now. It's not like I was doing anything. I just needed a break. Okay? I was stressed. I went out for a drink with some friends. Big deal. She was doubling down, digging her heels in, refusing to admit to anything more than what was already obvious. I clenched my jaw. You weren't with friends. She rolled her eyes. Yes, I was. Who? Her mouth opened, then closed, then opened again. She had no names. I nodded slowly. Right? Her nostrils flared. Oh my God. I cannot believe this. You're acting like some paranoid psycho over a stupid drink. A drink, I repeated. You mean sitting on some guy's lap, playing with his hair, and whispering in his ear? She froze for half a second. A blink and you miss it reaction. Then she scoffed. Oh my God. That is so ridiculous. He's just a guy from work. We were joking around. You seriously think I'd cheat on you? Are you insane? There it was again. The gaslighting. The classic "you're crazy" defense. I took a slow step toward her, lowering my voice. Say it, Emily. She frowned. Say what? Say you didn't cheat on me. She let out an exasperated sigh, her hands flying into the air. I didn't. God, why do you always have to be so dramatic? Why can't you just trust me? I held up my phone. The video played again. Her laughing, her whispering into another man's ear, her hands touching him. I watched her face, watched her panic flash for just a second before she slammed her defenses back up. Then, she did something I didn't expect. She smirked, a slow, lazy smirk. And then, with a careless shrug, she muttered, So what if I did? The room went dead silent. The words hung between us like a noose. For a second, I thought I had misheard her, that my brain had twisted her words into something worse than what she actually said. But the way she stood there, arms crossed, head tilted slightly, an infuriating smirk playing on her lips, I knew I had heard her just fine. So what if I did? I exhaled through my nose, slow and steady, trying to keep my hands from shaking. There was something surreal about this moment, like I had stepped into a different version of reality, a version where my wife, the woman who once cried happy tears when I proposed, who promised me loyalty, who held my hand through every hardship, was looking me in the eye and daring me to react to her betrayal. She tilted her head. I mean, honestly, what do you expect? You've been so distant lately, always caught up in your own little world. It's not like I went looking for it. It just happened. I let out a short, humorless laugh. It just happened. Yeah. She shrugged, as if she were explaining why she forgot to do the laundry. You know, people get lonely, and when their partners don't give them the attention they need, sometimes they connect with other people.
I sterte her.
You expect me to believe this is my fault? Emily sighed dramatically, rolling her eyes like a teenager caught sneaking out. I'm just saying you haven't exactly been the most present husband lately. When was the last time we even had fun together? I opened my mouth to respond, but she cut me off with a sharp laugh. See? You can't even remember. Meanwhile, you expect me to just sit at home, waiting for you to notice me? That's not how relationships work. Something inside me snapped. Not in an explosive way. Not in a yelling, screaming, throwing things kind of way. But in a quiet, final way. You lied to my face, I said. She shrugged again. So, I repeated. My voice didn't even sound like my own. You don't even care, do you? She sighed and dropped her arms, looking at me like I was boring her. Look, if you're gonna throw a tantrum, at least be honest about why. You're not mad that I went out. You're mad that you got caught not being enough. I didn't recognize the woman in front of me. She wasn't panicking. She wasn't crying. She wasn't begging for forgiveness or making empty promises. She was challenging me, and suddenly I understood. This wasn't guilt. This wasn't regret. This was arrogance. She thought she had already won. She thought she could flip this on me, make me feel like I was overreacting, make me second-guess myself. Because in her mind, I wasn't going anywhere. I was the stable one, the predictable one, the one who always forgave, always compromised, always gave the benefit of the doubt. And that's why she had the audacity to smirk at me after getting caught. Because she truly, deeply believed that I would do nothing. She was about to learn how wrong she was. I took a deep breath. Then, without breaking eye contact, I said, Get out. She blinked. The smirk wavered for half a second. What? You heard me. I gestured toward the door. Get out. Emily let out a sharp, incredulous laugh. Oh my God. You're actually serious? Dead serious. She scoffed, shaking her head. You're being ridiculous. Ridiculous is lying to my face and then trying to gaslight me into thinking it's my fault. Ridiculous is acting like I'm supposed to just accept this. And ridiculous is you standing here, still thinking you have any control over this situation. Something in her expression changed. Just a flicker. A tiny, almost imperceptible shift from amusement to uncertainty. She hadn't expected this. She had expected yelling, maybe a fight, a storm of emotions that she could twist and manipulate to her advantage. But calm, collected finality? That threw her off. She let out a breathy chuckle, placing a hand on her hip. Babe, be real. You're not actually kicking me out. Where am I supposed to go? I shrugged. Not my problem. Her eyes narrowed. You're seriously gonna throw away everything over one stupid mistake? I laughed. Actually laughed. Mistake? Emily, a mistake is forgetting to take out the trash. This was a choice. Repeated choices. And now you get to deal with the consequences. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. For the first time that night, she had nothing to say. I turned away from her, grabbing my phone. You have 10 minutes. She let out an exasperated huff. Or what? I tapped my screen a few times, then turned it toward her. Or the video goes to everyone we know. Her face dropped. Gone was the arrogance, the amusement, the false confidence. For the first time, she actually looked scared. You wouldn't, she whispered. I raised an eyebrow. Try me. Her lips parted, then pressed together. She was searching, scrambling for something, anything that would put her back in control. She found nothing. Her nostrils flared. She hated this, hated feeling powerless, hated that for the first time, she wasn't the one calling the shots. Then, without another word, she turned on her heel and stormed out of the room. I heard the rustling of bags, the slam of a closet door, the muffled curse under her breath. And 10 minutes later, the front door slammed shut. I let out a long breath and sank onto the bed. The silence felt different. Not empty, not lonely, just peaceful. The silence stretched around me, thick and heavy. For the first time in years, my home wasn't filled with Emily's voice, her footsteps, her presence. Just hours ago, she had strutted in, laughing, confident, spinning her lies without a second thought. Now she was gone. I should have felt relief, maybe even satisfaction. Instead, there was just a strange, dull ache in my chest. Not grief, not regret. Just the quiet, sinking realization that I had wasted so much of my life on someone who never really valued me. I sat there for a while, staring at the wall, at the black spray-painted words that started this whole mess. How was your emergency shift, Emily? It almost felt surreal, like this was someone else's life, someone else's disaster. But the unread texts on my phone, the half-packed suitcase she left behind in her rush to storm out, and the cold, empty bed next to me were all very real. Then my phone buzzed. I didn't look at it right away. I already knew who it was. Sure enough, when I finally picked it up, Emily's name glowed on the screen. Emily, you're being ridiculous. Call me. I stared at it. My thumb hovered over the keyboard, but I didn't reply. A minute later, another message. You're really gonna ruin our marriage over one mistake? Marriage. Funny how she cared about it now. The phone buzzed again. I don't have anywhere to go. Can we just talk? That one almost got me. Almost. Because for years, talking was what I had always done. Whenever she got defensive, I would back off and talk. Whenever she twisted the narrative, I would try to reason with her, try to make her see my side. I thought that if I just explained things well enough, if I just loved her enough, she would change. But Emily didn't change. She never planned to. I locked my phone and tossed it onto the bed. And then, as if the universe had some twisted sense of humor, another buzz, this time from Jake. Hey man, you good? I exhaled slowly, rubbing my hands over my face. Jake had been my best friend since college. He was the one who had sent me the video, who had unknowingly lit the match that burned my marriage to the ground. But I wasn't mad at him. He hadn't made Emily cheat. He had just opened my eyes to something I had been too blind to see. I picked up my phone again and texted back. Yeah, kicked her out. The response was immediate. Holy SHT. You serious? Asterisk. Dead serious. There was a long pause. Then, proud of you, bro. I let out a short, dry chuckle. Proud. The word felt strange. But maybe, deep down, a part of me that had finally chosen myself. But the night wasn't over yet. Because just as I let my head fall back against the pillows, exhausted, another text from Emily popped up on my screen. And this time, it wasn't begging. It wasn't apologizing. It was threatening. You're making a huge mistake. You'll regret this. I sat up slowly, staring at the screen. The words felt heavier than her last messages, laced with something darker. Less desperation, more control. You're making a huge mistake. You'll regret this. It wasn't a plea. It was a warning. I exhaled, running a hand over my face. Of course, she wasn't going to just let this go. Emily had spent years perfecting her ability to manipulate, to twist reality, to make herself the victim. She wasn't used to being on the losing end of a situation. And now that she was pissed. Another message. You're throwing away everything we built because of one stupid misunderstanding. Do you even realize what you're doing? I didn't reply. My phone buzzed again. I gave you the best years of my life. And this is how you repay me. I clenched my jaw. Best years of her life? What about mine? What about the years I spent putting her first, trusting her, loving her? What about every time I had her back? Every time I defended her? Every time I ignored my own gut because I believed in her? Emily didn't care about those things. She only cared that she had finally lost control over me. Another message. I'm coming back tomorrow. We need to talk about this like adults. I let out a short, humorless laugh. Like adults? She had smirked in my face when I confronted her. She had tried to gaslight me, twist the situation, make me question my own reality. And now, because she wasn't getting what she wanted, she suddenly wanted to be mature? I didn't trust it, and I wasn't going to let her walk back into my home like nothing had happened. I grabbed my phone, pulled up my contacts, and found my landlord's number. It rang twice before a groggy voice answered. Hello. Hey, Mark. Sorry to call so late, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I need to change the locks first thing in the morning. There was a pause. Everything okay? Not really, I admitted. But I'll pay whatever it costs. Just get it done. Another pause. Then, yeah, no problem. I hung up, tossed my phone onto the nightstand, and let out a breath. Emily thought she could waltz back in, turn on the waterworks, and spin a new version of the truth. But by tomorrow, she wouldn't even be able to open the door. I should have felt satisfied. But instead, I just felt tired. Because deep down, I knew this wasn't over. Emily wasn't done. And whatever came next, I needed to be ready for it. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, my mind replayed the moment Emily walked into the bedroom and saw the words on the wall. The way her smirk twisted when she realized I wasn't buying her lies. The way her confidence shattered the second I told her to get out. She wasn't used to losing control. And that's what kept me awake. Not regret. Not sadness. Anticipation. Because Emily didn't just give up. She didn't just walk away. She fought dirty. At 7 a.m., my phone buzzed. The locksmith. By 8 a.m., the locks were changed. By 8:15, Emily started calling. I let the first call go to voicemail. Then the second. Then the third. By the fourth, I finally answered. Why the F*** is my key not working? She snapped the second I picked up.
No fake sweetness. No manipulation.
Just anger. Because I changed the locks, I said flatly. You? She cut herself off, exhaling sharply. Are you serious? You're actually locking me out of my own home. It's not your home anymore. She let out a bitter laugh. Oh my God. You're unbelievable. You're actually kicking your wife to the curb like I'm some stranger. You are, I said. At least to me. Silence. For the first time, she had no response. Then, her voice dropped into something lower, colder. You're making a mistake, she muttered. No, Emily, I said, leaning back against the counter. I made a mistake trusting you. Another pause. Then her voice sharpened. I want my stuff. Then tell me where to send it. A harsh scoff. You're not serious. You're actually throwing me out like trash? Where am I supposed to go? I shrugged. Not my problem. You're such a f*** holy. Better an a** hole than a liar. She inhaled sharply like she was about to fire back. But instead, she just exhaled, collected herself. Then her tone changed again. Fine, she said, voice almost too calm. If that's how you want to play this, I hope you're ready for what comes next. I narrowed my eyes. What's that supposed to mean? But she had already hung up. And just like that, I knew this was only the beginning. The next 24 hours were eerily quiet. Too quiet. No more calls. No more texts. No furious banging on the door. Nothing. Emily wasn't the type to walk away without a fight. If she had screamed, cried, begged, hell, even tried to sneak back in, I would have been prepared for it. But this unsettling silence, that meant she was planning something. I just didn't know what. Then, right around noon the next day, I got my answer. I was sitting on the couch, scrolling through my phone, trying to distract myself, when Jake's name popped up on my screen. Jake, dude, what the f*** is Emily saying about you? Asterisk. My stomach dropped. I didn't even have time to type out a response before another text came through, this time with a screenshot. I clicked on it and there it was. A long public post on Facebook. Emily Reynolds' friends and family. I never thought I'd have to do this, but I need to speak my truth. For years, I was trapped in a marriage that was toxic, controlling, and emotionally abusive. I tried to make it work, but I was never allowed to have friends, never allowed to go out, never allowed to be my own person. I lived in constant fear, walking on eggshells every day. And when I finally stood up for myself, he threw me out like garbage. No warning, no discussion, just locked me out of my own home and told me to figure it out. If you've ever experienced emotional abuse, you know how painful this is. I wouldn't wish this on anyone. Please, if you care about me, don't stay silent. I need support now more than ever. I stared at the screen, stunned. Emily was a lot of things. A liar, a manipulator, a selfish, cheating piece of garbage. But this was next level. She wasn't just twisting the story. She was rewriting it entirely. And she knew exactly what she was doing. She wasn't playing to logic. She wasn't worried about the truth. She was playing to emotion. She knew that if she made herself the victim, people wouldn't ask questions. They wouldn't fact-check. They would just believe her. I scrolled through the comments. Her mom? I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know how bad it was. We're here for you, sweetheart. Always. Her cousin? I always had a bad feeling about him. You deserve so much better. Her friend Amanda? I knew he was controlling, but I didn't think he'd actually do this. What a psycho. Every comment was the same. Support, sympathy, outrage. And the worst part? People were messaging me. I had texts from mutual friends, old co-workers, even people I barely talked to, all saying the same thing. I had no idea. I hope Emily's okay. Dude, I don't know what's going on, but this looks really bad. I thought you were a better man than this. I clenched my jaw so hard my teeth ached. She wanted war. Fine. She was gonna get one. I had spent years letting Emily get away with her lies, letting her twist reality, spin her stories, paint herself as the victim whenever things didn't go her way. But this was different. This wasn't just lying to my face. This wasn't just sneaking around and getting caught. This was her trying to destroy me, and I wasn't about to let that happen. My fingers flew over my phone screen as I typed out a message to Jake. Me? She's lying. You know that, right? Jake? Obviously, bro. But a lot of people don't. Me? Good. Let them talk. I'm about to make things real interesting. I opened my photo gallery and scrolled. I still had everything. The texts, the screenshots, the video, proof of exactly where Emily had been during her so-called emergency shift. Proof that she had laughed, drank, and crawled all over another guy while I sat at home like an idiot, trusting her. I could have ended her right then. I could have posted the video, let everyone see the truth in high definition. But that would be too easy. And Emily? She deserved something better. So instead, I went for surgical precision. I typed out a post. Me, friends, and family. I've seen Emily's post. I'm sure many of you have too. I won't get into a back-and-forth argument, but I will say this: truth has a funny way of coming to light. So before anyone jumps to conclusions, I suggest asking Emily why she was out at a bar last night instead of at the emergency shift she told me she had. Ask her about the man she was sitting with. Ask her about the video. And then decide for yourself what's real. I attached one screenshot. Not the video. Not even the worst part. Just a single, clear, still image of Emily. Sitting on another man's lap, her arm draped over his shoulders, laughing like she didn't have a care in the world. Then I hit post, and sat back to watch the fire spread. It didn't take long. Less than 10 minutes later, my phone was blowing up. People were switching sides. The same friends who had jumped to Emily's defense were now demanding answers. Amanda, wait, what? Her cousin, Emily? Is this real? Some guy from her job? Didn't you say you were working last night? Then finally, Emily herself. My phone rang. I let it ring. Then it rang again. And again. Then came the texts. Are you serious? You're so Angie Petty. Asterisk. Take that down right now. You're making a fool of yourself. Answer me. I smiled.
No, Emily.
I'm making a fool of you. The more Emily texted, the more I ignored her. She was unraveling, and I wasn't about to stop her. Not after everything she had done. But it didn't take long before she switched tactics. First, she was furious. You're a pathetic excuse for a man. No wonder I had to find someone else. Enjoy being alone, loser. Then, just as I expected, the shift came. Her anger wasn't working. The insults weren't getting a response. So now, she played the victim. I can't believe you would humiliate me like this. Please, can we just talk? Face to face. I never meant to hurt you. I just made a mistake. I almost laughed. A mistake? A mistake is forgetting to set an alarm. A mistake is dropping your coffee. This wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. A choice she had made over and over again. To lie. To cheat. To manipulate. And now that she was facing consequences for the first time in her life, she didn't know what to do. My phone buzzed again. This time, Jake. Dude, you might want to check Emily's Facebook again. I tapped the app and scrolled. And there it was, Emily's original post deleted. In its place, a brand new post. Emily Reynolds' friends and family. I just want to say that emotions were high yesterday, and I may have said some things that weren't entirely fair. No one is perfect, and relationships are complicated. I hope everyone can respect our privacy during this difficult time. Thank you to those who reached out with love and support. I smirked. She wasn't apologizing. She wasn't admitting anything. But she was backtracking. Hard. And the best part? The comments weren't buying it. Amanda. Girl. You were literally calling him abusive yesterday. Now it's just complicated? What's the truth? Some dude she used to flirt with. Wait. So were you actually cheating or nah? Her own cousin. I'm starting to think you weren't being honest with us. Emily had built an entire web of lies. And now, it was collapsing around her. Emily was losing control. I could feel it. For years, she had been able to twist situations in her favor, rewrite the narrative to make herself the victim. But now, the cracks were too big to cover. People were questioning her. The same friends and family who had rushed to defend her were backpedaling. She had counted on blind support, but when faced with actual evidence, people weren't so eager to take her side anymore. And Emily? She hated it. That's when the final shift happened. I was making coffee when my phone buzzed again. I sighed, half expecting another round of desperate texts from Emily. But when I looked down at the screen, it wasn't her. It was her mother. Emily's mom. Call me. Now. I hesitated. Emily's mom, Linda, had always been polite to me, but we were never close. She was one of those women who saw her daughter as an angel no matter what. But something told me I needed to hear this, so I called. The second she answered, I knew something was wrong. You need to fix this, Linda said, skipping right past small talk. I leaned against the counter. Fix what? My daughter is in shambles. She's crying. She hasn't eaten. She can't even leave the house. You've destroyed her. And for what? Some stupid video? I clenched my jaw. So Emily had finally broken down. Good. I said nothing, letting Linda fill the silence. Look, I know she made mistakes, she continued. I'm not excusing what she did. But is this really how you want things to end? Do you really want to drag her through the mud like this? I exhaled slowly. You saw the video, Linda? Silence. Then a quiet. Yes. And another pause. Then her voice softened. She shouldn't have lied. There it was. The first real acknowledgement that Emily wasn't the innocent victim she had painted herself to be. I almost felt bad for Linda. She was realizing, maybe for the first time, that her daughter wasn't who she thought she was. Look, she sighed. She wants to talk to you. In person. No fighting, no drama. Just closure. I smirked. Closure. That was Emily's last move. Get me in front of her. Make me see her cry. Make me feel guilty. Make me question whether I had been too harsh. The old me would have fallen for it. But I wasn't that guy anymore. Tell Emily she already got her closure, I said. The moment she walked out that door, Linda sighed, disappointed. That's really how you want to end this? Linda, I said, voice calm, steady. Emily ended this the moment she climbed onto another man's lap. Silence. Then a quiet. I hope you find peace. You too. I hung up. I knew I had just burned whatever bridge was left between me and Emily's family. But I didn't care. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't walking on eggshells. And it felt damn good. A week passed. Then another. No more calls. No more texts. No more desperate attempts from Emily to twist the story back in her favor. She had lost. Her post was gone. The comments had died down. People moved on. But the damage? That would stick with her. Because the thing about liars is that once people catch them in a lie, they never look at them the same way again. Emily had always been the golden girl to her friends, the one who could do no wrong. But now she was the woman who got caught cheating, lying, and then trying to ruin the man she betrayed. And me? I felt lighter. For the first time in years, I wasn't second-guessing myself. I wasn't bending over backward trying to prove my worth to someone who never valued me in the first place. I was free. Then, one night, as I was scrolling through my phone, I saw it. Emily's profile had changed. Her relationship status? Gone. Her pictures with me? Deleted. And her last post? A picture of her at a bar, holding a drink. A big fake smile plastered on her face. Captioned, New Beginnings, Red Heart. I chuckled. Of course. She was already rebuilding the next version of herself. Already crafting a new story to tell the world. That was what Emily did. She didn't reflect. She didn't learn. She just moved on. And honestly, that was fine by me, because so had I. I tossed my phone onto the couch, leaned back, and let out a deep, satisfied breath. For the first time in a long, long time, I was finally at peace.